This is the first episode of the Gunnar Vibe. My name is Arun Kumar. Joining me is my friend Varun Kalyan. We've been buddies for about 15 years now, back in Bombay.
Yeah.
We both are massive Arsenal fans. So let me start with saying hi. How are you doing, Varun?
Hey, I'm doing good, Arun. Thanks for setting this up. I think this is a great forum for people like us, giving a platform to fans. I think all over the world. I think it's really important because you usually hear the pundits talk after the game, before the games, but I think now the fans have a voice, and I think that's super important. And I think it's a great initiative. So thanks for having me here.
Thanks for discussing about this. Well, exciting times for Arsenal for sure. You have been to a couple of friendlies, seeing the new team, if you can say, live this past month or so. What has been your first reaction? How do you feel about the team? How do you feel about the friendlies that's gone by?
Yeah, I think I saw them a couple of times, once against the All Stars, and I think we saw all the three signings on that day. They actually look pretty solid. I think the best of them all, I feel, is Timber. Like he has been super solid for the three games at least I've seen him, like including today's outing against City. He's actually a right back, but he played at left back with ease, right? So that I think is a huge um, missing link that we had last season. Like once Zinchenko got injured, Tierney is a conventional left back. We don't have that inverting left back once he was injured. And Havertz actually has impressed me as well. I think Arteta is thinking of playing him as a false nine. When for example today we saw Jesus missing, so he slotted him up there. And I also feel Rice has slowly settled. First two games he was uncomfortable. Against the United game, we saw he was not at his best. But I think today him and Partey were solid against a really good City team. So I think they've settled in really well. Team looks good, minus the United result. I think we have been really good across all the games. So
Yeah.
exciting times ahead.
Yeah, it was interesting. Last year during friendlies, we had won pretty much all of our friendlies.
Yeah.
This time, at least what we have seen is a little bit of hiccups. We have had a couple of good results with Barcelona, with All Stars. We lost
Yeah.
against Manchester United. We had a couple of draws in between. But yeah, overall, considering these are new signings, we lost Xhaka.
Yeah.
Uh, Betting in these signings seems to be the main focus.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, well, today was a big day. We have not won, or we didn't really have a good season with Manchester City last time. This was considered by pundits the big opportunity for Arsenal to get one over Pep City. Well, today's Arsenal versus Manchester City Community Shield has been won by Arsenal.
Yeah.
Let's start with the lineup. What were your thoughts about the lineup? Any surprises?
I think this is Arteta's top 11, minus Jesus missing due to an injury. I think this is Arteta's best 11 available to him, and I felt City's 11, of course, was not super overwhelming. I think they have a few exits, so they're still coping with that. But I think from an Arsenal standpoint, this was a best 11, and I think we looked pretty dangerous today. Like we missed a couple of good chances. We should have won the game 2-0 or 2-1, but I think we kept going until the end, and I think Trossard, obliged, and we got the draw and then the penalties.
Mhm.
I think this was a great 11. My personal opinion is I feel we need an out and out striker, but not sure what Arteta is thinking, and probably this is gonna be it. And maybe he's just gonna add that goalkeeper, Turner, replace Turner with David Raya.
Mhm.
I don't think we're gonna have any incomings minus Raya if he comes, and I think they're just gonna sell the other players. So I think
Right.
this is the best 11 out there.
Yeah, about about the striker situation. I know Jesus um, has, I think I've heard about 6 weeks out.
Yeah,
So apart from Jesus, we have Balogun, which we haven't seen a lot of him at all this preseason. We have seen Nketiah. I was a little surprised, to be honest, that I didn't see Nketiah start. The only reason being I haven't seen Nketiah actually doing well from the
yeah,
bench. He has not scored at all for us. But apart from that, I thought the 11 was very solid. Like you said earlier, Timber seems to be very, very good
yeah,
stout signing, really good signing.
yeah.
I think on the left side, we have a good competition now with uh,
Trossard and Martinelli.
Trossard and Martinelli. I would have thought Trossard would be one of them who would be a replacement for Nketiah, like up
Right.
front. But Martinelli is still recovering from his injury or is coming back from the injury he had back end of last season. So I could understand why they're giving less some minutes to Martinelli and maybe just
Yeah.
helping him build his fitness. But Timber was very, very impressive on the left. I'm just interested to know your thoughts. Do you think he's going to be on the left, or do you think Arteta might moving around? I know we saw him in the right back, and I think against Manchester United earlier, and in Ajax he has been playing center
Right.
back as well.
Centre back.
So
Yeah.
what are your thoughts about Timber left back for a long time? And what if Chef Zinchenko comes back,
Right.
maybe in a couple of weeks? What do you think about his uh, his status? Whether it's going to be Zinchenko and Timber, or if they are going to just
Yeah.
have one or
It's
the
it's
other?
actually a good headache for Arteta because I think he will play Timber right back if he has Zinchenko available at left back, because I think the way he's setting up is if Zinchenko comes in, I think the back three will be Gabriel, Saliba, and Timber. And Zinchenko would probably play the inverted position because, as you said, like Timber is really comfortable at centre back as well. I think that's his plan. But I think now since we have Ben White, I think one thing Arteta has done is he's picked the Pep model. He wants every player in an interchangeable position. Like for example, Saliba and Gabriel are our number one pairing for the centre back position, but I think White can play centre back. Tomiyasu can play both right back and centre back, and as well as Timber. So I
Mhm.
think now we have that versatility and the depth because last season we lost Saliba and we basically lost the league because of his injury. So I
Mhm.
think Arteta has addressed that situation. So I'm happy on that side. The only other thing I think maybe Arsenal are missing one piece is competition for Saka, or at least a replacement for Saka, because there's going to be Champions League and he played almost every game last season. So we cannot burn Saka out every outing that we have. We need like a one-to-one replacement. We were going for Musa Diaby, but I think he's gone to Villa. Um, Maybe they look for a right-sided winger or maybe a striker. I don't know like what in terms of incomings do we have, but I think that's about it. I think the team looks set today. Actually, the team looked very comfortable compared to preseason, and yeah, great to have won over Man City after
Mhm.
losing. Like the FA Cup, basically Man City knocked us out, and of course the league. So it's good to have at least one momentum shift towards us at this stage. So I'm excited with the result as well today.
That was an interesting observation you made because, like you said, there is malleability on the back line. You can see the malleability in the midfield as well.
Yeah,
As soon as Gabriel was replaced by, I think it was Trossard,
yeah,
we actually had three at the back with Thomas Partey going
right,
back.
right,
Rice was replaced and they kept Havertz for a bit, and you saw
right,
Havertz going back to that left eight position that Xhaka and Rice
right.
has been playing. Um, so there is multiple people who can take
Yeah,
multiple roles, which is interesting, and that's one of the reasons why I feel at least not this. Uh, I think you pointed out that we won't be having a another signing if we have a especially a goalkeeper
Right.
coming in. But I'm afraid that Arteta would be more inclined to getting a attacker who's
Yeah.
also a right winger or who can play center forward. Someone like Kudus would be good, like who
Right.
can be on the right side, who can play center forward as well. He has played center forward for Ajax too.
Right.
However, I
I think
am a little
he's,
comfortable
yeah,
because
I
we
think
do
he's going
have
to Brighton, if I'm not wrong.
yes, that's what I think.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah. But we also have Reece Nelson pen a deal, so
Yes.
there we do have a replacement for Xhaka, and
Saka.
plus we have Trossard who has played on the right. So
Yeah.
yes,
So maybe,
definitely
yeah.
with Saka going out, it's going to be a big void if he gets injured.
Right.
But we do have options which might bring the level from Saka to someone else pretty low, but at least we do have
I think, yeah, you're right. Nelson is going to be a good cover if at all anything happens to Saka. So I
yeah,
think it should be good. Yeah.
yeah. What do you think about the penalties? I mean, from what I have seen, Vieira was all right in the Manchester United game. He missed the penalty.
Yeah.
I saw that he was kind of depressed about it.
Right.
And then the previous game with against Monaco, he was all right. He
Right.
played right side. In fact, he played the same position as Saka. So I think that he might be another candidate who can play right wing or right inside eight position that Odegaard plays.
Right.
Um, what do you think about his contribution today? The
I think, I think if you see the penalty shootout, I think served us well for two people. I feel one was, as you pointed out, Vieira, who had missed the penalty against United, even though the game was decided as 2-0, but I don't know why they had a penalty shootout.
Mhm,
That was a good confidence for him. And I think the major thing I wanted to point out is Saka's confidence on penalties.
mhm,
He's been under immense pressure. He missed it against West Ham, which kind of tilted the league. And I think he missed a couple of critical penalties as well. So I think it was really important that he got that over the line. So it's a good confidence booster for Saka.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a good thing that happened today. So
yeah,
hopefully this will boost the team's morale. Just getting over the line against City has been a mental block in the
mhm,
last 2, 3 seasons. I think getting this win over them was really good for this season. Yeah.
yeah. What do you think going to next weekend's game, our very first game against Nottingham Forest? I think we're playing at home.
Yeah.
Um, behind the raucous Emirates Stadium, everyone will be interested to know how we fare. Our first game, I think the last game we played against Nottingham Forest, we lost 1-0.
Yeah.
But at Forest. This time being at the Emirates, I think we won 5-0 last time.
5-0. Yeah.
How do you feel going into the first game? Are we physically prepared? Are we mentally prepared to go head to head? Not just with City.
Yeah.
Liverpool has done well, buying in a couple of good players. Manchester United has looked pretty good. We have other teams, Newcastle being one of them in the Champions League, who have signed a couple of good players as well. How do
Right.
you feel going into the season against Nottingham Forest? How confident are you?
I think the first game for sure, it's gonna be on paper. I think we should definitely, take the win. And I think the first 5 games is crucial, I feel, for momentum. And I know that we have, I think, United and Chelsea in the first 5 games, if I'm
Mm,
not wrong. One, I think, at the Emirates, I think, game 4,
yeah.
which is United. Hopefully, we get maximum points first against Nottingham Forest just to get the season started. Just like last season, I think Crystal Palace away used to be our bogey,
Mm,
ground. We had a great performance there, and I think with what we have seen in the past 3 games, friendlies, including Monaco as well as today's game, um, tactically, I think we were on par with City today for almost all of the game. We just that was one lapse. If you saw that exact moment when Timber was removed and Tierney was brought on, is when
Mm,
they scored. But I think that the first 11 was solid. They were going toe to toe with City. So I feel it is again going to be a two-horse race for the title. We're going to push City all the way. But I think these three teams you mentioned, which is Newcastle, United, and Liverpool, they're a little bit behind these two teams. But I think they're going to be in the mix. Maybe they will be there for some part of it towards the top. But I think just like last season, I think these two teams are going to go head to head again. Hopefully, we can get across the line this time. So I think the start is really important.
mm,
Um, I think the last few seasons, apart from last season, we always had a difficult start. We lost the first out of the five. I think we lost the three games in the beginning.
mm.
It's just too hard to come out of it. I hope we just have the winning start, and I think that should set us on the way.
Yeah, when other teams are getting better each season, especially with Chelsea having an off season, them
Yeah,
having a new coach, having really good squad, catching up from early losses is not possible for any team.
any team. Yeah.
Um, yeah, you did point out Manchester United is where we are playing. I think it's the fourth game, the first game in September.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
I'm
but
just looking at the fixtures. Yeah. So we are sit. So the first game is Forest. Then the next game is the away at Selhurst Park.
mm,
And then we have home to Fulham and then home to United and
right,
then away to Everton.
yeah,
So actually, these are actually tough games. I mean, if you look at
mm,
it, and then we play the North London Derby after that. So I think the 6 games are critical. The wish is all six, win all six, but
mm.
that's just wishful thinking. Let's see if we can get maximum points. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the home games we should be strong. We did struggle some of the home games last season. We were
Yeah.
actually better away from home than at
Yeah.
home. So we looking forward to how our home form improves this season. Um, we did have, I see there is some improvements we can have. The last couple of preseason games, we have struggled a little bit in front of goals. We didn't score today until like the last kick of the
Last kick of the
game.
game.
And Havertz had a couple of chances. Martinelli had a couple of chances. Even
Yeah.
in the last game, we saw, I think Nketiah scored, but we had so many chances that we could have
Yeah.
buried the game. Is that a concern considering Jesus
I
is not there, or we are
yeah.
still in that process of betting in these new players?
I think addressing the striker situation, I feel they're not playing Balogun because I think what we have heard is they don't want to get him injured and they want to sell him for big money because I think he doesn't want to play second fiddle. If I was Arteta, I would have actually kept Balogun and maybe sold Nketiah. That would have been me because yes, he had the chance, but if you see, Balogun has 21 goals last season from his loan spell, whereas Nketiah only had 9. Of course, there has been less minutes for him available. And again, Jesus being out, I feel like we're just relying too much on Nketiah because he's a young player, right? It's just too much for him to carry. I feel like we need a big striker. Similar to Haaland, we need like a 30-goal striker per season, which we have not done. From my analysis, what I've figured out is I think Arteta is waiting for that big money signing next season.
Mhm.
He wants to take Arsenal as much as he can with the squad this season. And I think he has basically built up from the keeper all the way up front. And I don't think now this year, I don't think Arsenal has the funds to, go and sign a 80 plus million striker. But I feel that's a missing piece for us because that's where we failed last season. When the goals dried up, we didn't have anyone on the bench to go and, plug those goals. And we lost to Brighton 3-0 and like Nottingham Forest 1-0 and those 3 draws, right? So the Saliba's loss as well as a lack of striker basically led to our, capitulation and we ended up not winning it. But hopefully the club is preparing to do that, address that this season. So I feel that's my opinion. Like Jesus is out. give Balogun a chance. But it's just with three strikers like Jesus, Nketiah, and Balogun, I just don't know we can keep all three of them. Likely we're going to lose Balogun.
Yeah.
So we are going to be stuck with Nketiah and Jesus, and I think there's maybe Havertz playing in when these guys are out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the key thing. Nketiah can also play, I think, wide left.
Yeah.
So there is availability again. That's what Arteta looks for.
Yeah.
There is also sharing of goals. You have seen that last
Yeah.
season. Arsenal didn't have one specific player who had like
Yeah.
20 goals. Everyone had, even Odegaard had 15 goals.
Yeah.
So that's probably going to be the motto this season as well, just share goals. And maybe next season, if we do find a striker somehow, I
Yeah.
don't think this has been a striker market. To be honest, I haven't seen any good
Right.
strikers out there. So
Right.
maybe there will be good strikers coming in next season. So, like you said, yeah, definitely we'll need to go for a big
I
striker.
think that's the missing piece. I think that's the final piece of the puzzle. I think Arteta, I don't know if you remember, he defined his phase three, but we overshot our own expectations and we have
Mm,
already done so much better. I think this summer window was his phase four out of his five phases that he had explained. So I'm assuming next year that's his final phase five, which he'll get the main striker. And I think we're gonna keep competing every season. This is I think we're not gonna be like, oh, it was just last season.
mm,
I have a feeling he's building out for the future. The only other last thing I wanted to, at least optically, what I noticed today was City are actually an aging side. If you saw De Bruyne 35, Kyle Walker 35, they've lost Gundogan, Mahrez. All of their current squad players are like on the wrong side of 30. And I think, and if you compare that to Arsenal, we are all like under 25, most of them, exception of Partey and a couple of players. I feel like I could see Arsenal ascending in the next few seasons, and then you can see City's decline unless they keep buying, right? They're gonna keep buying. But I think the current crop of City players today, I could see that they're on their way down because until De Bruyne came, they couldn't do anything for 70 minutes, right? They were flat and they
mm.
didn't have Gundogan as well. So it's gonna be really hard for them, I feel, this season to find the same rhythm that they had last season. Because they like now De Bruyne is very injury prone, and I don't think he's gonna play every game has he like how he has played in the previous seasons. So I'm positive. City on the decline, Arsenal in the ascendancy. Hopefully, we'll cross the line this season.
All right. Well, let's wrap up at that. It's always good to wrap up at a positive note. Thanks
Yeah.
again, Varun, for joining me on this first episode. Glad that we were able to talk about victorious Arsenal against City
Yeah.
team. But yeah, looking forward to the season. Well, come on, you Gunners.
Great start to the season, the curtain raiser, and great start to Guna vibe. So I'm excited. Let's take this to new heights and let's keep doing it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Varun.
Thank you so much, Arun. Have a nice day.
All right. See ya.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.